Now this is a video that I'm super excited to make because learning is really important to me, so I've compiled together 8 different awesome resources for you online to learn more about design and design programs, as well as just learning in general. There's a few different examples in here that cover way more than just design. Some of them cover things like entrepreneurship or even totally different things like foreign languages and programming. So I'll go ahead and list out all these different examples in the description of this video for really easy reference for you so you don't have to worry about remembering everything. But if you want to check out some of these websites as I go along through these examples, feel free to check out the description and just open up these different tabs so you can also check out what I'm showing. So first up here is probably one that I am the most excited about personally because of how awesome it is, and that's called edX, and the website is edX.org. And basically what edX is it's a totally free platform showcasing classes from some of the absolute best colleges and schools in the entire world. And with all these being free, that's just an incredible thing to think about, that you can go in and take classes from places like Harvard or MIT or Berkeley without having to pay anything up front. And they do also offer verified courses that tend to cost something like $50 to $100 for the entire course, that once you successfully complete the course, you'll get a certificate that will basically say you completed the course. And that's really good if you want to show that off on your resume or show off to your employer that you're continually learning and bringing in some new skills. So I'll just scroll down a little bit here so you can check out a few classes up at the top. So conversational English, machine learning for data science. edX has a lot of really cool examples for very in-depth data-driven stuff. So if you're into that, this is a great place to learn that stuff. This one's particularly interesting though because it's from Berkeley and it's called Creativity and Entrepreneurship. And if you want to be a professional designer that works for themselves, perhaps a freelancer, open your own design studio, or just sell your own products online, learning basic entrepreneurial skills is definitely something that you want to go in and do and put a lot of focus in. And with a dedicated class to really go in there and teach you those skills, I think it'll set you off in a really good starting place for starting your adventure. So once you decide to make that leap and work for yourself or create your own business, you'll have a lot of the fundamental basics down that you can really intelligently move forward and use your time in the best way possible. Other stuff like this one right here, which is an HTML5 introduction. So no matter what you're trying to learn, I think edX is a great place to start. I will say though that if you want to go the verified route to get a certificate saying that you completed these courses, the workload is fairly heavy, something like 2 to 4 hours a week. So treat taking one of those classes online just like you would at a normal school. Like put that same amount of effort in and same amount of time in, because with any of these examples that I'm going to show you, you'll really get out of them what you decide to put into them. But that's it for this website. I super recommend that you check it out and go through the different course catalogs of what they offer, because there's a ton of stuff like Introduction to Marketing right here. So just a lot of different examples of things that you can learn and really use to push you and your design or creative career forward. Next up is a website that I really love, and that's called Codecademy. And Codecademy is basically an interactive series of courses for different development skills or web development skills. So there's a lot of examples on this right here, from things like AngularJS to SQL, which is really back-end developer stuff. And then you have some other stuff at the bottom here like basic language skills like HTML and CSS, which I've actually completed this course. So I'll just click into that and see if it shows me an example of what the tool looks like here. So once this loads up, as you can tell right here, it'll give you what you have to do in the left-hand side here. And then there's an interactive part where you can go ahead and type the code in real time, and then it will go ahead and show you what that looks like. So that makes this tool especially awesome, is that everything that you're seeing as far as what you're creating is happening in real time. So these little boxes here, it's super small on my screen, but I was just drawing out basic tables with table data nested inside, and then using the CSS right here to style them to have this little dashed line around them. So because of that interactivity, it'll actually tell you when you type something wrong too and say, hey, this line is wrong, please correct it. If you, for example, go through this entire HTML and CSS course, it'll put you in a pretty good starting point for learning the basics of what it takes to build your own web pages. And even if you're a designer that doesn't really want to code or isn't too interested in coding, I think having at least a very basic knowledge of those skills will be super helpful for you in your career, especially if you want to pursue something like user interface design or user experience design. It's almost a requirement to make it easier for you to communicate with the developers that you'll be working with, to have a fundamental understanding of what it takes to make these things come alive. So definitely recommend checking out Codecademy if you're into web development or web design. It'll be super useful for you, and all the courses are interactive, which makes them pretty awesome to go through. And they, in general, are like 8 hours or so to complete, so it's not too much time to go in and learn some stuff. Next up, we have Skillshare at Skillshare.com, and this is a fairly new one as far as online learning resources go, but basically what's really cool about Skillshare is it's independent teachers that go in here and offer classes that you can sign up for. And I should note that Skillshare is not a free platform. There will be some free sections sections of courses you can kind of check out and see if they're for you. But if you want to go in here and experience everything, you'll have to pay to do so. But something particularly interesting about Skillshare is the quality of teachers that they've managed to find. So if I go in design right here and actually it's making me pick 3. So I'll do design, photography, and let's say gaming, because that sounds interesting. So I'll go through here and it might present me with some good classes. So like I was saying, there's some teachers on this platform that are considered the absolute best in the industry at what they do. And they'll offer classes that'll really give you insight into their particular way of creating what they do, or give you some perhaps different ways to think about how you approach work and how you can go ahead and create it yourself, as well as explaining the technical details that it takes to make these things happen. So Skillshare, although a paid platform, is definitely one worth checking out if you're really serious about learning some stuff, because of the diversity of classes offered and the quality of teachers that they have. And I have checked out a few of these different videos before, and I will say overall the video quality and audio quality, all the production stuff is pretty well handled, at least as good as what I do, if not better in some cases. So if you go here and see a class that is up your alley, feel free to check that out. And I do think they offer free trial periods, so maybe check that out before you get started. You might be able to check out an entire class in full without having to pay anything on a 30-day trial or something like that. Next, we have Lynda.com, which is sort of a giant of the online learning industry. And despite the fact that they've said before that YouTube videos about learning are low quality in some of their ads, which I'll just say Lynda.com, I totally disagree with. How mean of you to say so. But despite all that, they have an incredible selection of different courses to go in here and check out. This is also a paid platform, but it does have a free trial, so you can check stuff out before you decide to pay. And also there will be some courses that have at least decent amounts of free sections where you might be able to go in here and figure out what you're trying to learn. And the library is huge, from development to video editing to design. So if I go really quickly here to design, and let's say something like illustration. Yeah, illustration. You can see that there's a whole bunch of different courses here that will cover very specific topics sometimes, and then sometimes much broader topics about how to actually use the tools. So certainly worth checking out Lynda.com because of the vast nature of their library. And once again, in general, the quality of all these videos is very high and they're nicely segmented, which makes them easy to go through when you have time to do so. Next up is a website that I wasn't aware of before, but someone recommended it to me on Twitter, and that's uxtree.io. And this website's really devoted to UX design in particular and UI design. So if UX design or UI design, which is user experience and user interface, is something that is interesting to you and something that you want to learn more about, then I'd certainly recommend checking out this website. It seems like right now they have a fairly limited selection of different courses for you to check out, but they have things like a complete guide to UX design, prototyping for the Apple Watch, user research immersive, which I'm assuming is going in here and showing you how to conduct studies as well as figure out how to find the data to make what you do better, which is a huge part of the user experience field. So if one of those two fields is appealing to you, go in here and check out this website and see if one of these classes appeals to you. Next up, we have Creative Cloud tutorials, and this is a pretty long link, so I'll just link that in the description below this video. But Adobe does offer a ton of different tutorials for specific things, and you might have seen some of these when you opened up the programs. There's a little start box that'll say, hey, check out these basic essential tutorials that kind of cover what you have to learn. So a really wide variety of different videos to check out here, some of which were actually taken from something like Lynda.com, some of which I think were produced in-house at Adobe. So I won't go over everything that they show here, but as you can tell, there's quite a few things to go in and check out, so I would certainly recommend doing that if you're looking for some additional learning resources. Next up is TutsPlus, which is tutsplus.com or tutsplus.com, however you want to say that. And this is also a paid platform to go in and see everything, but a lot of these will offer little free sections at the beginning for you to check out, and there's a free 10-day trial. So if you go in here and search the TutsPlus library of tutorials and see something you like, you could probably get through a few different courses within that 10-day trial if you have some time every day to go in here and check this stuff out. And once again, this has a huge course catalog, so I'll go to web design, for example, and just kind of scroll through what they have to show here. So for example, a freelancer's quick guide to finances. That could be super helpful, once again, if you're a business-minded entrepreneur that wants to take your designs and make a business out of it. But as you can tell right here, there's a ton of different pages of things to go in here and check out, from very specific topics to things that are much broader and cover the industry as a whole, even specific things like switching from Photoshop to Sketch, in case you want to check out Sketch and are tired of using Photoshop for web design, but certainly a huge library of different tutorials and course types to check out. So I'll go to design and illustration here just to show this as well. So feel free to check this one out. Use that 10-day free trial to learn some of these things. Like this script lettering class looks pretty darn sweet. So hopefully some of this looks interesting to you. And if it does, definitely check it out. And last up here is an obvious one, and that's YouTube, which is where I place all my videos because I like to keep everything free for people. But there's a ton of very talented people out there teaching skills outside of me, like on the related channels on the right-hand side of my page right here. We have Tila Cunningham, Swerve, Will Patterson, Create and Process. So feel free to check out all the different authors and tutorial makers on YouTube and kind of support them by watching their videos. There's a wide variety of videos to check out for sure. And along with that wide variety of videos, there's a wide variety of quality levels of videos. But once you find someone that's really talented and is producing good stuff consistently, I'd recommend subscribing to their channel and just kind of checking out what they're showing as they're learning it themselves. There's no doubt a huge amount of information on YouTube, from learning design skills to even learning how to fix your car if that's something you want to learn how to do. But since you're here watching this video, I think you know about that. So we should be pretty good on this one. So that's it for this video. I do hope you found it helpful and perhaps found some resources in this video that you didn't know existed before. And if you did find this video helpful, please like and favorite. And if you want to see more stuff like this every week, please subscribe. I do my best to keep new content coming for illustrators and designers. Thanks so much for watching.